I'm not going to lie to you. This is not at all where I thought this was going. I've done this intro a couple times now with little success. So to simplify, in today's episode, I'm going to use those two things to fix this thing. Cheers. I'd like to preface this video by saying that the initial and secondary diagnosis we ran with were good theories, but not the problem. There is a larger problem afoot, and I don't want you to go into this video and finish this video feeling as if you wasted your time believing that the cooling system was going to be fixed 100%, although I do ask that you still watch it, because if you're having cooling problems with these motors, this could still be instructional and helpful for some of you out there. Everything happens for a reason. This motor having this problem when I didn't expect it could have happened for the reason that this and then these next couple videos in chasing this problem could help one of you out there. So I ask that you still watch the video and enjoy the video, if not for just the entertainment, for what help it might provide you. And we'll continue to chase this problem in upcoming videos. We'll be able to work on some fun stuff in the meantime. So I appreciate you watching, and enjoy the video. Before we get started doing anything, I have a friend over here, or a bunch of them, that we're going to need to get rid of. I'm not going to coexist in this small space with all of them. These have been a problem in the past, as you can see, but we just used a little bit of my secret formula and get rid of them. Target engaged, target destroyed. In case you guys didn't know, WD-40 makes a fantastic wasp killer, and it's probably cheaper than wasp killer. I don't know at this point. All right, back to the video. It is hotter than pissing upstream right now. For those of you who saw me get a little bit of WD-40 on the car, and or any of you who have respect for vehicles in any form or another, and would probably hate me for the way that I've treated this one over the last month, we're going to go wash it. Because one of the things I want to do today is actually take this car for a drive, get it to overheat on purpose, a bit of an assessment of the cooling problem we're having now, so that we have a metric to measure against when we fix it. So let's go do that. That did nothing. Nice. Ah, yes. I am sweating like crazy. Welcome to the Texas heat, y'all. It's looking better. Now that we got Tiny washed and in the shed, we are going to take it for... Look who I just found. Okay, now that those are taken care of and Tiny's washed and we're not too embarrassed to go out in public in this car, we're going to do exactly that. We want the cooling system to act up. We want it to overheat preferably so that we have a metric by which to compare when we fix the cooling system later in this episode. The carburetor is probably going to act up like I spoke about in the last episode as well, but since we'll be addressing that in the next video, I don't really care. So for those of you who have a similar cooling issue with these 1500 motors, or for those of you who just like to watch me play with my midget, stay tuned. Now the problem we're dealing with today is an overheating problem. Specifically, I believe in the radiator, and we're going to test for that, and more specifically, due to corrosion and rust within the cooling system. This engine sat for a year, and every time that I've done a flush, either when replacing the thermostat or the water pump or any gaskets, something goes in green, comes out brown. Roll the clip.
There's a lot of rust in there. I'll put coolant in. The next day I'll flush it. It'll come out brown. Goes in green, comes out brown. Not good.
Which is a telltale sign that you have plenty of rust in your tank that could totally clog up a system. And could it be something else? Just grime and gunk? Absolutely. But what's in this tank is magnetic. So we're attacking it as if it is rust. So what we're going to use today. This is a very grimy bottle of Evaporust Thermocure, which basically is a non-toxic, non-corrosive formula that you pour into your coolant system with a proper dilution ratio to water, and you circulate it through the system as if it were the coolant. You run the motor on this fluid, and it breaks down the rust, and then you do flushes, and so that's what we're going to do today. First though, let me show you why I think it's the radiator. I'm going to turn the car on, I'm going to let it run for a while, I'm going to let it get hot, and then I'm going to check with an infrared gun where the hottest part of the radiator is. So let's do that. I don't know if you can hear me, but we're gonna let that warm up, do its thing for a little while I do some tool cleanup and try to find my infrared gun that I have not seen in a significant amount of time. That should be in one of... Aha! Yes! Okay, so the infrared data was pretty conclusive. The radiator hoses and vanes on one side of the motor were significantly 50 to 80 degrees hotter than the hoses on the other side of the motor at any given time. Now, the way that a radiator works, water is supposed to pass through and cool. However, that water should be a much more similar temperature going in and coming out than it was in this scenario. And due to the fact that the direction of flow with this motor is such that the water pump draws from the side that was cooler and pushes to the side that was hotter, suggests that somewhere between point A and point B in the radiator, there's a blockage, and that hot water is not able to enter in with a proper pressure and flow through and cool and pass out the other side. So, pretty conclusive. It's exactly what we expected, and we can fix that. So, whether that means the Evaporust and the coolant system flush is going to work, or we need to replace the radiator, one way or another, we're going to get that fixed. So, I like having a place to go with the information that I have, so let's do it. First thing you're going to want to do is drain your coolant. Get that old stuff out of there, which in my case is not very old because I've been chasing this coolant problem for a little while, so this coolant's pretty brand new. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not at all where I thought this was going. So the situation is, or was, that when I pulled the coolant hose off of that 50-year-old thin aluminum radiator barb, it actually broke. So rather than taking it somewhere that can fix that, I'm just going to install an extra radiator I have lying around from Itty Bitty. I have not pressure tested this radiator. I do not know if it's good. It has been capped, so no debris was inside, and I did run water through it, and at least it came out the right port, mainly. So we're going to put that in and do the exact same flush and everything that I was planning on doing with the other radiator. I am going to have to convert this electric fan over to the other radiator, as well as I have spent the last hour straightening all the fins on that radiator. So not how this was supposed to go, but that is life when you're working on cars. So let's get to that. We're going to go ahead and throw that radiator in real quick, and then we will start the flushing process that we were supposed to be doing the last hour. All right, let's go. So simply put, I just transferred this electric fan over from the old radiator to the new radiator with the Hayden style clamps and put some studs on the bottom so it should be compatible to just drop in. We just gave it a little baby bump here to accept that cooling fan. This piece was already non-original and made out of scraps, so I was okay with doing this until we get a more permanent solution. Having now thrown a new radiator on and not wanting to lose all of my brand new product due to a potentially second faulty radiator, I'm going to fill the system with water and run it for a while, make sure there's no leaks, and then I'll take it off, take some of the water out, and add the Evaporust. So here's a very sweaty / getting dive bombed by wasps update for you. Since the last time I turned on the camera, I replaced the radiator with the new old radiator and filled it with water to capacity, and I took it for a drive, during which it held a consistent 190 water temp, which is consistent with what I've seen in the past in this car. And that thermostat is set to open at 180, but the water temp gauge is somewhat old and could be slightly off in that meter, and it'd be just fine. So the point of that, and the most important part, is that it held consistent without overheating on just water. So we have a metric now that it holds at 190 to 195. While driving and while idling. It did several miles and several minutes of idling and held there. So now that we're going to do the flush, we can then compare against our metric. Once we're done adding the water wetter and removing all the debris and rust out of the system, we can compare against that 190 to 195 with potential future overheating, because I only drove it for a few minutes. So anyways, let's finally get to the flush that we were supposed to do at the beginning of this video. Get our Evaporust Thermocure, and let's get that system cleaned out. So to show the reason we're doing all of this, this is the color of the liquid that comes out of that system when I've only used water. This was purely water for one run, and it's this orange brown rust color, because if I waited an hour, this would, everything would settle to the bottom and just be water on top, and you'd actually be able to see just a pile of sediment at the bottom. It's really bad. So this is the reason that we're doing this. So I've emptied out a little bit of the system. Now we're going to go ahead and put some of the Evaporust in the proper amount, and then we'll run it. So we have a new theory, because the theme of this video should be chasing one theory after another. After this last drive, it held a consistent temperature at 190 again until it didn't. 10 miles down the road or so, it decided to peg the water temp gauge to 250, although 240 is all that this system can get to under pressure. But anyway, it decided to go from 190 and just peg it in overheating. And one thing, knowing how much water I've added into this system, made sure I burped it all properly and had all the valves open. One thing that crossed my mind is that it could totally be a warped head and leaking head gasket problem, which has happened on this motor before, although when I fixed it, all that I did was replace the head gasket, and it helped for a little while, though I never did any actual work to the head. So the plan going forward, although I know that this is not the this video did not provide the end-all be-all for this cooling system problem, the plan going forward will be to take this head that I have on this extra motor over here, take it to a machine shop, have them test it. If the tests come back good, we're going to go ahead and have them deck it, throw it on this motor here, and have a quick turnaround so that we can test if that was the problem. I'll get new head gaskets, new head studs, potentially a valve job, being that with these problems you risk having valve float issues. So we'll do all of that in upcoming videos, and that's actually exciting because in my research in the past, when I just got into these cars, in trying to find instructional videos on those, they were lacking. There wasn't a lot out there. So it does provide a great opportunity for me to hopefully help some of you guys if you're having similar problems. Everything happens for a reason, like I said at the beginning of this video. So we're going to run with that problem next. What that's going to allow us to do in the meantime, while we wait for parts, is look into some fun stuff with this one here, as well as some fun stuff that we've been working on in the background here. Some very exciting stuff that will actually allow us to spread the channel out a bit right at the beginning, as opposed to fixing one car at a time. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I will reflect in the title that this is not the end-all be-all. This did not fix the cooling problem, so that you don't feel like you've wasted your time. And I appreciate you watching. I hope you watch future videos. I hope you subscribe. I ask that, as well as liking, commenting, all the things that can help me continue to do this, and hopefully post a lot more videos for you guys. It is things like that that motivate me to get out there and film more and try to turn this into a lifestyle. So anyways, if you guys would like to see more videos on these cars, or you'd like to check out some of the background content I make on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all of those things, you can check the links down below. You can subscribe to the channel, and I will look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you for watching the video.